All right, people. In this episode, we're going to talk about something very serious in the fishing community. I really want you to pay attention to this. Don't get it twisted. That's right, we're going to talk about line twist in spinning reels today. So in all seriousness, we are going to be talking about line twist and how to get rid of it when putting it onto our spinning reel. So let me just explain real quick kind of how a spinning reel works with line twist, because I think it's really helpful just to see what happens. So when we open our bell and we cast our line, what happens naturally is it flies off of the reel forward and you have this really nice line twist, right? As it flies out, we want this. This is actually part of the spinning reel, is the line twist itself, and it propels it forward. Now, when we reel back in, essentially what we're trying to do is now untwist the line and lay it flat back onto our bell or our spool. And so what happens is a lot of times when we're trying to first load our line, brand new fishing line, onto our spinning reel, a lot of times because of poor techniques, we're adding unnecessary twists, okay? Extra twist for extra problems later, extra tangles later, okay? And so the real magical question is, well, how can we lay something perfectly flat if all those internet techniques out there, all those YouTube videos, give us these techniques and none of them quite work perfectly, and we still get those terrible knots? We get the wind knots, we get tangles, our castability, the range goes way down. How can we avoid all that? Well, there's a couple of ways that we can do this. One involves going to a bait and tackle shop. The other one, which is the one we're going to talk about today, you can do at your home by yourself and for an affordable price, which is great. So let's jump into that. All right, guys, so here we have a line spooler, okay? It's basically a shaft with a 90-degree twist with a form of a gimbal that spins around. And this really cool, funny-looking device actually is the cure-all for laying line flat onto a spinning reel. So let's talk about the line spooler and how it works. There's a few components on this thing, really two that are very important. The first one is we have a spinning dial right up here at the top. Quite literally what this does, if you tighten this, it makes sure that the spinning component stops spinning. You can actually make it very tight. This is really important for if you're loading or spooling a bait caster, okay? You don't want spin. However, if you're working with a spinning reel, then of course you want to go ahead and loosen this component so it spins again, okay? So the second component is actually this little spinning dial right here, and what this does is actually loosens or tightens these two little arms. And what these arms do is they actually hold the fishing line in place while it's being spooled onto whatever type of reel you're using, okay? All right, you guys, so obviously we have a spinning component to the line spooler. And what this actually does is it's going to be holding on to the fishing line itself. And as that fishing line comes off, it's going to be spinning at the exact rate of our spinning reel, the exact rotation of the spinning reel. And what that's going to be doing is actually removing line twist and laying it flat as it enters into our spool onto the reel. So that's a really, really cool, powerful component. This is the thing that we've all been trying to figure out. All the different techniques that we've been trying that just don't work, this is actually the item that's going to save the day. So the first thing you're going to need in order to add line to a spinning reel is you're going to need a reel, right? Here we have a brand new reel that just came in the mail a few days ago by Cadence. This happens to be a company I really like. However, we all have our favorite preferences. I just prefer Cadence rods and reels because I just think they're a really high-end product that comes at an affordable price, okay? So not trying to necessarily sell Cadence to you guys. I just want to let you know this is what I like to use. The proof's in the pudding. You guys have seen other videos where I've caught lots of fish. I'm using Cadence, and that's just my preference. However, use what you guys like to use. Whatever is your favorite rod and reel, go for that. That actually has no effect on how we load the line, right? As long as it's a spinning reel, it will be applicable to this lesson, okay? Now, one thing that's really important when it comes to pairing line with a reel is to look at the side of the reel and make sure that you understand exactly what kind of line is required for your reel. For this particular reel, and this is for lighter fish or smaller fish, it calls for 6-pound test, and it can take up to 110 yards of it. So, with me today, I actually have some P-line fluorocarbon 6-pound test, okay? So we have our reel, we have our line, and now we need to go ahead and grab our line spooler and get started. So, I'm going to go ahead and grab my line, and I'm going to attach it to the line spooler by opening up both of these hands. There you go. Perfect. All right, so the next part is to obviously attach our actual reel to the line spooler. Excellent. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tie a basic knot onto the base of the reel itself. Guys, there's a lot of people that have a lot of different preferences on how to tie a knot onto the reel itself. What I would tell you is go ahead and just tie whatever knot you think is best here, because as a lot of people like to say, if the fish gets you down to the very last knot that's at the base of your spinning reel, you're probably in a lot of trouble, okay? So let's go ahead and tie on a basic knot and then we'll get started. So this is where the magic happens, and this is what's so unique about this device. I'm gonna go ahead and start reeling. And what's going to happen is that the top component of this line spooler is going to spin at the same rate of our spinning reel. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to take the line twist and it's going to untwist it and lay it flatly onto our spool. And that's really what everybody wants, right? We all want to have no line twist when it's being added to our spinning reel. So let's go ahead and start spinning and see how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slightly tilt this the way I normally would. There we go. And voila. Now we are removing line twist, guys. So I know it looks kind of crazy. Things look like they're happening really quick, but what's happening actually is that we are removing the line twist. We're laying it flatly onto our spool. And now when it comes time to go out fishing, I'm going to be able to cast this very smoothly without a lot of tangles, okay? And I'm going to be a really happy guy. Alright, you guys, so I went ahead and filled up the spool. I don't want to overfill it because, again, if you overfill your spinning reel, what can happen is line will fly off. If it hasn't happened to you before, just you want to try to avoid this. The way to avoid this is not overfill any type of spool or line. So if you don't have this really nifty device, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Feel free to go down there. You can find it on Amazon. It's fairly affordable. So hopefully that's going to be an easy fix for you guys. If you don't have that option of buying it, but you'd still like to go fishing immediately, which I don't blame you at all, then go to your local bait and tackle shop. A lot of those places have devices that'll help spool your line, that'll help add line onto your reel, and that can be a very helpful option. So especially if you don't have this device and you're kind of like, all right, well, I've been having a lot of line twist. I really am not happy with anything I've tried. Go to the professionals, guys. They're happy to help you, right? Especially if you buy some line from them. So that's always an option. All right, guys. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I hope you will consider subscribing so you can follow along on my weekly adventures. And yeah, if you would like more content like this where I explain some of the things I have here in the Fishing Man Cave, yeah, let me know in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you guys out on the water. Tight lines.